What's going on, everybody? Everybody! What's going on, everybody?
I don't know, man.
Welcome to another edition of the Talking to the Benfica Podcast, episode number 206.
Good thing we got no viewers. Nobody heard that.
Yeah, Mr. Santos is here. What's going on, Mr. Steve Santos?
Just another day, another podcast. Nothing really going on special.
Nothing going on. Straight from Toronto. And Mr. right next to me, Eat, Sleep, Benfica, Repeat, Mr. Cristiano Oliveira.
What's going on, everybody?
Everybody good?
But that's your line. How's everyone doing tonight?
Ciao.
Ciao.
Anyway, on tonight's podcast, we would be remiss not to talk about Portugal's conquest in Europe. For as much as we've avoided to talk about it, we are going to say a few words. We're on special angle. We'll also talk about team news, what's going on over at the Seychelles. Been very, very low key, most of it because of all the media attention that the national team has been getting. But I'll guarantee you, those boys are still training 2 a days. And they're going to get going this week with their first preseason game. I believe comes up Thursday?
The 14th, I believe, is the first day.
Yeah, Thursday.
Yeah, it's Thursday. I think versus
the 14th is Friday, no?
No, 15th is
Thursday.
Friday. So it's Thursday. And we will also address rumors, as always, and speculation. Yeah. So that's it. That's what we got. Hopefully it won't be as long as the last one that we had. So we'll get things off with Portugal's historic conquest of Europe, first major tournament international trophy for Portugal. Obviously, as Portuguese, we're all very proud of the national team and what they've been able to accomplish, and also know that this is a once in a lifetime deal. For all of us, especially us much younger and the much older, that even if they were alive in '66, they weren't able to see that. But here it is, first trophy, first major international trophy. Chris, does the national team get a star now above their crest for their European Championship, or that's only FIFA?
I would assume, not knowing the correct answer.
They do get the little shield, right?
I would assume that's only for World Cups. I would assume, but. Mas como disse na bocadinho, vão sempre perdido.
They do get the little shield. I know the golden shield that says European champions.
Kind of like Call of Duty. You get a shield when you kill like 4
I don't know if you get a shield. A lot of headshots, maybe. You get a shield.
You get a shield or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and Portugal will also be present in Russia this upcoming year.
Do you get shields in Pokemon?
Pokemon Go,
whatever.
Yeah, a lot of shields, whatever.
Ai, Jesus, pancada.
Anyway, so here's our thing. I think that there's been tons of talk about the national team as far as players' strategy for the Sunshine, so on and so forth. The angle that we wanted to talk about is really what this competition and the win in this competition means for Portuguese football.
It means that we can finally sit at the big boy table, plain and simple. That's what it means. Because every time the big boys were together and talking about the beautiful game of football, we'd chime in with the Cristiano Ronaldo's Figo, Messi, wow. Cristiano Ronaldo, Figo, Eusébio, Futuros. We're going to be like, yeah, we're talking amongst the big boys. And now Portugal's finally arrived, man. I think it's one of these moments that, more than anything else to us as fans, it's a great sense of pride, a great sense of joy. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I really think respect has a lot to do with it. Even though we haven't got much of it, which a lot of these so-called wannabe professionals working in the world of media for different outlets, doing nothing but mocking Portugal. At the end of the day, man, I myself am guilty of coming out and trying to criticize Fernando Santos' tactics. But at the end of the day, you know what? The guy wants. So who the hell am I or anyone else to question what his tactics were? Because at the end of the day, he walked away with what everyone that participated in this tournament wished they walked away with, which was the Caneco. So
yeah,
hats off to them.
The biggest thing I think that and Chris mentions is sitting at the big boy table. I mean, you got Greece that won it once, obviously, like we all know.
Denmark 88.
Denmark won one.
92.
But these are teams that that show up every once in a while. Portugal has been an assiduous presence in semifinals, quarterfinals, the final stages of competitions. Portugal has been there. They've only lacked that extra little push, or the estrelinha de sorte, if you want to call it, to make it through and to win the tournament. So I think that when Chris says you all of a sudden you sit at the big boy step, yeah, Portugal is now a force to be reckoned with, especially with Cristiano Ronaldo being on the team and the generations. But really, what I wanted to say, Stephen, and I know that Cristiano already answered, what do you think this means for upcoming generations and for Portuguese football in general?
Well, I think it was just before the final, Ronaldo said something like, it's free to dream. And previous to this tournament, I think all of us probably were of the same opinion that we would probably never see Portugal win anything in our lifetime. We saw the fantastic teams of Euro 2000, 2004, the 2004 one that fell in the final at home. If it didn't happen then, it wasn't meant to be. It seemed like there was always a bit of a blockade around us saying that, you know what, you can't get past here. And now that we've won, albeit in whatever fashion you want to call it, if it was ugly, if it was beautiful, whatever matters is, what does matter is that we won. You could look at it now and say, as a 17-year-old, you know what? Renato won it only 1 year older than I did. As an 18-year-old, you could have that dream, and it could be a more realistic one. Whereas maybe even Renato before today or before Sunday would be like, you know what? That's up there, but I don't know if it's attainable. Now that you win the first one, everything seems, the pressure will be there, but everything seems more attainable, more realistic.
Steve and I usually battle it out here on the Benfica podcast to see who's the most negative. But this time I'm going to try to turn it around. I'm going to be a little bit optimistic here. I think what happens here now, I think the pressure is off of their backs. Kind of like the monkey's been lifted off my back. It reminds me of an American sport, Steve Young. He always had like Ronaldo, always the crazy hype, expectations, and the guy could never get over the hump because he was always compared to Joe Montana. And when he finally whooped on the San Diego Chargers, he said it himself, the monkey's been lifted off my back, and the guy went on to a Hall of Fame career. And I think that could happen here with Portugal. I think the expectations now, these guys know that it could happen. It's happened before. They don't have that pressure of being the first to go on and conquer Europe or the World Cup for this great nation of Portugal. I think this will alleviate a lot of the youngsters and teams come to the future.
Here's the thing for me, that there's a significant and curious correlation between these major tournaments when Portugal does well and the generations that are kind of raised on that tournament. Like, for example, the 84 competition where we did so well in France, the golden generation was 12 to 14 years old. So 12 to 14 years old, those kids were obviously inspired by the events that took place in France. And, were raised with that goal in mind, with that competition in mind, with how good Portugal played. And here they were. They put their best efforts forward in their formation, and that generation came up.
And let's not forget, they went on to win back-to-back World Cups, youth World Cups at the under-20 level.
That's correct.
That same generation that was watching the guys in 84.
So now you got the golden generation, right? You got the golden generation doing great things. And now all of a sudden you see this new generation of kids coming up who are also winning these competitions, U17s, U19s, U21s, doing very, very well at these competitions, being one of the top 4 teams in the competitions. I believe that in Azerbaijan, we went to the final? We lost to Spain in penalties. That was the U17s, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, that was the U17s. So these kids are obviously are looking at these competitions as very young kids, as 12, 13, 14 years old, and finding these competitions and the performance by Portuguese teams very, very inspiring. That shows them, they sit there and goes, that's what I want to do. That's the stage where I want to be at. So there's a certain effort that's put forth that inspires a generation, if you will, that creates these great generations. I mean, look at the generation that's coming behind these guys that are now that you kind of seeing a little bit. The João Mario, Renato Sanchez, albeit a little younger, but there's a great generation now coming behind these guys that are only 21, 22, 23 years old. These kids are yet to hit their peak at a mature level, at a senior level. So it's a great future for Portugal. I think this generation, this competition, and what Portugal did in this competition is something that's going to inspire another generation to come up and be inspired by what happened in France and to aspire to be just as great as a football player. Do you guys agree with that?
Absolutely. That's 100% what I think, where I was trying to go with my comments as well. Just to try to bring this back to a Benfica standpoint, the under-19 team, I don't think it's started that well, but you're looking at 7 players from our club. 8, I think 7 started in the first match, if I remember right.
There's 8 Benfica. Sorry, Steve. There's 8 Benfica players, 2 Sporting players, and 2 Porto players. And there was actually an argument that the Benfica Juniors, which is what these kids are really, that Benfica Juniors finished in 4th place in the championship, and yet they were the team with most players.
Yeah,
but obviously when you work on that angle, a lot of these kids, Benfica players that are playing on this team, were players that were already playing for the B team.
Exactly. They're playing a year up already, so.
Yeah. So that was something that came out with, I don't know, one of those Sporting propaganda Twitter page. No, it wasn't a comunicado. It was one of those guys, I don't know, Sporting Sem Filtro or something like that, that said, how is it possible that Benfica came in 4th in the junior championship, yet they put them as players on it? And you look throughout history in the past couple of years, you got the like I said, the U19 now that's got 8 but excuse me, you look at the U17 team that played in Azerbaijan. 5 Benfica players, 4 Sporting players, and 5 Porto players. The U20 team in New Zealand that lost in the quarters to Brazil, 6 Benfica players, 4 Sporting players, and 4 Porto players. So there's a certain tendency that's changing now. I think Sporting has been known for the longest time to be a great academy. Benfica lack the infrastructure, if you will. Finally, the Seychelles is in place now. I think the Seychelles is over 10 years now, if I'm not mistaken. So we're starting to see somewhat of a pattern changing here, a tide changing here, and the Seychelles definitely bearing fruit. And in a way, that's kind of the reason why Luis Felipe Vieira has the speech that he has about Benfica. The youth teams feeding the main team was because he's confident in the development of talent that's being done at the Seychelles. So I don't know. I think that this competition and Portugal's performance in general, I think it's going to inspire another generation, and I'm glad that the Portugal won, and I could care less about what people say and how they criticize the style of the team. A win is a win. A lot of people criticized Benfica, how they played last year. There was guys that thought that should have gotten a trophy for playing bonito, and in the end, it counts with the goals you put in the back of the net, and you getting your points. So there you go. Anything, Cristiano? You're very quiet today. Anything that you wanted to add on to this topic before we move on?
Nah, just listen to you guys and just sitting back for a change and
Chris,
actually agreeing with you guys. I said
this. Chris, just let me interrupt you, and I'll get you to talk in a second. I believe all of us have a very special apology to make to a certain man.
Esquece isso, pá. Esquece
não,
disso.
Não.
Tu fazes, eu não faço. Vai te foder.
Eu faço.
Tu fazes, o Chris também pode fazer se quiser. Eu não
Chris
faço.
always said he'd eat crow, so
You'd eat crow. You ready?
He's got to eat crow.
Fork?
I mean, look, I'll whatever you say, I got a story to tell right after. So.
Vai lá. Can't wait to hear the story.
Well, I had to make sure Chris, did his part, and he was a little bit too quiet for a while. So, Eder, I think apologies are in order from all of Portugal. O patinho feio. I still don't know how he scored that goal. The ball was like so far behind him, and he still smashed it in. I don't think the goalie was ready for it, but we owe him a lot. And I owe him an apology.
I will forever be thankful.
Queres dirigir ao homem em português?
Eu? Isso que era bom. Não.
I'll forever.
Talvez o Chris é que pode fazer.
I'll say it in Portuguese, Brazilian, Italian, whatever language you want me to. I'll say it in French. Oui, monsieur. I'll forever be grateful for that fantastic moment. And unless Portugal go on to win the next 6 in a row, which I doubt, this will be one of these moments that will forever be engraved in my mind. That being said, people asked me prior to Germany, France, who I'd rather face in the final. To me, it was simple. I said I wanted to face France because I thought their back line could be had. I thought Ronaldo could take up an opportunity and get these guys on their heels and could squeeze one past them. And I just had this crazy feeling about this whole game. And to me, that's exactly what Eder did. Once Eder gets the ball, Koscielny lets him turn infield into the middle of the field. That's error number 1. Umtiti backs up. That's error number 2. Koscielny sits there ball watching. Error number 3. Mutwidi sitting there ball watching once again. Error number 4. And then, I mean, to his credit, Eder had the guts to take a shot. A lot of people criticize him, saying he's just trying to get rid of the ball as quick as he can. But it was a nice shot. It wasn't a tremendously one of these rockets that we've seen in years past from different players. And even in that game, Nani took a couple blasts. It wasn't a tremendously hard shot by any means. And to me, I thought Hugo Lloris, one of the better goalkeepers in the world, was flat-footed and he got caught. To me, if that was the other way around, ladies and gentlemen, and Rui Patricio allowed that goal, I'd be sitting here right now, right this moment, for the rest of my life, criticizing him. So at the end of the day, I tip my cap. More power to you, Eder, and I appreciate it. They made the mistakes. It's not on us. We didn't make mistakes. And at the end of the day, like I said before, we can sit at the big boy table for years. I had the privilege on going on national radio up and down across the United States of America along with Canada. And every time I mentioned Portugal, every time I mentioned Benfica, anybody Portuguese, I got laughed at. And right now, I can no longer be laughed at because now when I speak, you got to take me serious. Because we're not just a bunch of pretty boys who are more worried about our gel and our hair. Now we've actually accomplished something. When we walk into the room, you take notice. And so to me, that's the great sense of pride, the great sense of respect, the great sense of relief that we've accomplished something. And real quick, just to finish this off, as I was watching the game, Ronaldo goes down, and everybody I was with, I just said, yo, look, turn off the TV. And they're like, what are you, crazy? I said, we won this game. And I was like, what the, yo, you're nuts. I'm like, we won this game. Like, what? I said, this is a script written in Hollywood. For the last 10 years, all we've heard about was how Portugal was a one-man team. He's going to go down. The rest of the squad is going to carry us to the glory land. Promise. We're going to promise everybody, do what we got to do, carry us to the promised land. And that's exactly what happened. Portugal conquers Europe without their king. And that's exactly what happened. And now it can no longer be a one-man team. The rest of the guys on this squad who I've been fighting for, I've said on multiple other platforms, every time I've been on any type of airware podcast, I don't care. And that's part of the team. And that's part of the team. I still wouldn't pick him on my next team, but he's part of the team. But these guys are a lot more than just Cristiano Ronaldo. I hated the fact when Portugal played Wales. Wales got so much hype and a bunch of Hull City Watfords and Swansea players, where Portugal got all their players on some of the best teams in Europe and still didn't get the respect. So I just want to throw it out there, man, for all the haters. Let's talk about Benfica.
Yeah, if you've had a chance to listen to the latest Ball Breakers episode, where it was right before the final, Cristiano did mention all these things that he's mentioning now. He mentioned back
I'm not one of those. Afterwards, like come out.
No, he mentioned back there. He pointed out France's weaknesses. He pointed out how Portugal could be successful. So I advise everybody to go check that out. Also, the awesome Patrick Kendrick is on there, so you might want to check that out if you have a little bit of time. So now, turning our attention to what really matters these days, Benfica. So a little bit of pieces of news, a little news thing. So Benfica, like we said, does open against Vitória Setúbal in the Algarve Cup this Thursday. Then they will play Derby County 2 days later on the 16th. Biggest piece of news right now coming out of Benfica's camp is Ederson's knee surgery, arthroscopic surgery. Which is it's look for you guys that are familiar with some of these injuries and surgeries. It's very it's minor invasive. Really. It's something that's done through like a very, very small hole in your knee. There's barely even a scar. It's just something where they clean stuff up, some scar tissue around the meniscus, so on and so forth. I think 4 weeks. I think was what's being
4 to 6
being mentioned. 4 to 6. I think that he's the type of guy, because he's young and he could recuperate pretty fast, because obviously being a young kid, your body heals better. 4 weeks, I think 4 weeks, 5 weeks. But this goes now back to the argument that we were having last week with between,
not an argument, discussion.
Yeah, it was a discussion between Eder and Julius Caesar. Now all of a sudden, Julius Caesar is the number one guy, and he might be the one guy that plays the Super Cup.
But no, he's not. No, Paulo Lopes. Paulo Lopes has been already named the starter in the Super Cup.
He's been named for this.
Opa,
que disse, pá?
Listen, I can't confirm. No, I'm not going to go into it. But from what I've read, from what
maluco, man. Eles perguntaram ao Chaval se estava pronto para jogar. They asked him if he was ready.
You got your sources, and I got my newspaper articles. From what I gather, and I could be wrong, but from what my research. Right, Paulo Lopes is the starter in the Supertaça.
No, they asked him today.
Most fit of our 3 keepers. I think Julius Caesar is still trying to come back from whatever injury he's got, and now you have one that just went under the knife. So more than likely, it's going to be Paulo Lopes that plays that game.
There is. Yeah,
but I don't think it's been confirmed, like Chris is saying.
No, it's not confirmed. He was the player selected today to speak to the media after training, and they asked him if he was ready to play the Super Cup, and he said, "Tô preparadíssimo," meaning I'm more than ready. Benfica also has 2 junior kids in camp as goalkeepers to make up for Ederson's absence. The other piece of news, and perhaps a piece of news where I'm mostly excited to divulge and talk about, Bebe has been sold to Eibar. Chris, what do you think about that, man? Bebe to Eibar.
I got a Bebe crying in the background too. If you guys hear it, I'm sorry about that. I guess he's kind of upset that Bebe was sold to Eibar. But I can tell you one thing: his dad is very, very happy that he's gone.
Chris.
I think Benfica doing the right thing. We have a couple questions, and I know Meg asked this question, and we'll get into it a little bit later on, Meg. And I'm sorry we have to cut into your question right now, but I think anytime Benfica could get this extra weight off its ship and move it on, and not just that, I think he's done well playing at Granada and Rayo Vallecano over the last couple of years. He has a market over there in Spain. He's done well. He's nowhere near anybody anticipated this guy would be at this point, but. He's got a mark. He's done well for the small clubs.
Can we send Tarap as a bonus?
Tarap they might, win the title. Well, La Liga title.
But we're tremendously happy with Bebe's exit. We thought that from the get-go it was a tremendous casting error on the part of JJ, and we all know that this was a pet project of his. And nobody really could. There was some kids that were excited, some guys that were excited about Bebe, but come on.
I don't think it's just his, man. I think we've seen where Benfica, any chance they get to sign a guy that they could potentially turn around and sell for a profit, and that's, I think, not just JJ, probably the club as well. They were all on board with. Maybe he comes in, he has a good season because he has the hype of going to Manchester United. They could turn around and sell this guy for 10, 15 mil. Unfortunately, it hasn't worked out, but. Sayonara, and I hope they do that with the rest of the guys.
You went to Manchester United, and Sir Alex Ferguson never saw a single piece of video on Bebe.
He played. He played in EPL. Represented, I think, at least one game he played. That's a lot more than I could say.
Yeah. So Bebe is gone, and we're pretty happy. Zivkovic, which was our latest transfer. He did report to camp today, as we had mentioned last week on the podcast. He was given a week off to take care of personal affairs in Serbia and whatnot. He was in training today. He idolizes Messi. He doesn't like speaking about himself, but talks about fast dribbles, quick plays, and assists. That was some of the words that he used.
Told you guys last week.
Yeah. Jonas, Jimenez, and Lindelof have authorization to report on the 15th, so that's when we'll see them. And another piece of news of somebody else going out, Derlei going to Chiapas in Mexico. Loan with an option to buy. Is another pet project of JJ, a guy from Marítimo, who was actually the second or third best scorer of the league in one season. And Benfica went and snapped him up, and he was never really all that great. He did get more playing time than Bebe, I should say, but not the guy that we needed. So.
We were all a little bit excited about the guy. We called for him to play the year before, the season before they came to the United States. And once we saw him in the United States, remember, we looked at one another. We said, "Epa, this guy's your own monk, man. This guy's joga nada." And then a couple weeks later, he was out on loan, barely played at Deportivo, and now he's gone.
Yeah. Benfica has loaned a 17-year-old Polish forward, and I'll be goddamned if I can mention his name correctly. Masirziski. No, but Przemysław Masirziski. I think I'm
sure.
And also, I should say that what's that guy's? What's the Pedro corrected me on the Kalaisa. Kalaisa is how you mention our new
Kalaika. It's Kalaisa.
It's not Kalaika. It's Kalaisa.
Cool.
And I've heard it on Benfica TV too. So just make a note at home if you're trying to mention it is Kalaisa, not Kalaika. All right. So just make sure you mention that right. What else we got? Tarapt was almost on loan to the German second league. Something happened there. So apparently some kind of difference of opinions. I think the president, what did the president say? That there was some things that just didn't fit right.
Yeah.
And I think he was talking about his shirt.
Or his double chin, as somebody has mentioned. I think it was Pete on Twitter.
Yeah, I think doesn't Tarap look like DJ Khalid?
He does.
Gang.
Khalid's fatter though.
Khalid's fatter, but Tarap is on his way.
Tarap next to Khalid, he's in shape.
Yeah.
Speaking of overweight guys, Alfredo was saying just before the podcast, it looks like they got Mitroglou bundled up in a double shirt, trying to sweat out some extra pounds he put on over the summer.
If you guys look at pictures from today's training session, Mitroglou is wearing a long sweatshirt while everybody is in short sleeves. So that's a sign that he's trying.
Maybe he's got a rash.
He's trying to lose a little bit extra.
Maybe he's trying to cover some new tattoos.
Yeah, new tattoos. He can't get the sun out.
Here we go.
Yeah, let's be honest. You saw him last week when he reported. When he reported and he was on the treadmill doing the exams, he had his shirt off. He didn't look fat at all.
Photoshop.
But look, last thing on Tarapt and Khalid, I think they should do a before. Hear me out. This might work. Should do a before and after picture and send it. Be like, look, the guy's been working his ass off the last week.
If you guys, right?
Like, if
you guys are watching this on live and you don't know who DJ Khalid is, I suggest you Google him up right now, and you will find resemblance. I think Laura wanted to know how do we get rid of Tarapt. I think at this point we don't know, short of maybe DJ Khalid adopting him as a long distance cousin. I have no idea what's gonna go on with Tarapt. I mean, second division of Germany, and they wouldn't even take him over there. It's like Freddie Adu all over again.
No, listen.
Chris,
let me catch my breath.
Chris,
I think it's one aspect of football that really annoys me, and you guys might agree with me, you might not, right? But once it kind of ticks me off. Once you burn a guy, there's no second chances, and that's my only thing. It's preseason. Give the guy a chance. Let's see what happens. I mean, what's the word? He's on your freaking roster. You're going to pay this guy $2 million plus. Give the guy a run in preseason. I mean, all right, you didn't want to bring him in last season because you didn't want him to interrupt the atmosphere in the locker room. Fine, granted, you won the top five, but why just bury the guy from the? He is on your roster.
Maybe he didn't have the weight required.
Let's see what he could do in preseason. I mean, am I asking for too much?
I think he burned.
But I'm not saying
he burned his bridges, bro.
But that's the problem. That's the problem in soccer, man.
He burned his bridges.
Alfredo, that's the problem in soccer, man. In soccer, once they put you in a corner, you're in a corner, man.
Nobody puts baby in the corner.
Yeah. I think this is more sour apples from you.
I think that's what it sounds like, man.
So caralho right now, man.
Nobody puts baby in a corner. All right, we're gonna break here for Nelson's halftime headlines, and we'll be right back.
And now, the halftime headlines.
And this championship week, we kick off with a few faces moving on from Benfica. Vitor Andrade has been loaned out to TSV Munich. Terapt was also scheduled to join him, but failed a medical. And Derlei has been loaned to the Mexican side, Chivas. Nas modalidade, Benfica signed former Canadian Rookie of the Year, Raven Barber, to their basketball team. Nicolas dos Santos, the Portuguese-born Swiss international, has also made his way to the Luge to join Raven. And finally, Eliseu goes down in history to be the first current Portuguese Benfiquista to be a European champion. Congratulations to him, Renato, and all the other Portuguese players on the team that have brought home this great trophy and honor home.
And that's all for this week.
Yep, that's it. Good job, Nelson. As always, I know that there's a lack of stories going on right now. So good job on digging that up on the basketball team. Nas modalidades. Anyway, let's do rumors before we do some Twitter questions. And if you're watching us live on Twitter, Benfica Podcast hashtag if you want to be heard. And Chris is monitoring the questions. We'll be answering some questions. Rumor Benfica was after Brazilian center mid Hernanes from Juventus. Juventus wanted $8 million. Benfica was trying to snatch him on a loan contract. It seems that Juventus just picked someone up, so he's losing some space there. So Benfica was trying to work that angle. But Chris, a guy with perhaps a very high salary for Benfica.
Yep, but nonetheless, I think it'd be a very good addition to the club. A guy that could play in the middle of the park, get everyone else involved. You know, for years I've been crying about Benfica having a true center mid that could create for everybody else. A true traquarista, right? Did I say
Traquartista?
I'm gonna get it right.
Traquarista.
A true trequartista. I would like to see him on team, but yeah. Right now, Benfica doesn't want to shell out €8 million for a 31-year-old.
Yeah,
and you never know what happened. Juventus just added Lil Jack. How do you say L Jack? Lil Jack. How do you say his name, Steve? From Roma, Lil Jack, whatever his name is.
Low Jack.
Probably Low Jack. Yeah. They added him, another guy that plays in the middle of the park. So Hernanes is going to be another guy that's going to be looking for a team, and hopefully they'll reach an agreement.
I thought it was Pjanic that they got.
Yeah, Pjanic, whatever. They're all same family.
Yeah, there's a couple guys that are coming in for the middle of the park for Juventus. And
I think the guy you're talking about was Lajic.
I think he signed too. I'm all messed up. Yeah, I'm all messed up.
Yeah,
you're messing me up as you go along too.
That's great. By the way, just real quick, I see some of you guys trying to be funny and trying to figure out with Tarap. That's the quickest way not to get your question read. All right, just mention Tarap.
Let me grab my phone. So that's the deal with that. Also, Talisca to Liverpool is the rumor. So apparently there's something going on where, you know, with England you need to get a visa or a work permit to transfer first, and I think that's what's in the works now. I don't know if
I heard he got it though. I don't know how he got it, because you have to play a certain percentage of national team games within that year. And from what I've heard, he got the permit. I just don't know how he got the permit, but he got that's what I heard.
$4 million. $4 million is what is rumored to be the value. You know what? I mean, $4 million is no. I'm sorry.
I read 25.
Sorry. He cost Benfica $4 million.
Yeah. Sorry.
My notes are a little screwy here. He did cost Benfica $4 million. I think at this point, if Benfica could get $7 million from him, I'll be happy. I'm not going to question Liverpool. Yeah, I'm not going to question Liverpool's scouting. I think that Talisca does have some talents. I just can't see him on this Benfica team, to be honest with you. But maybe what's his name? Klopp. Maybe Klopp sees something that we don't see. But I mean, these teams are teams that chase the ball around the park with pressure. I don't see Talisca being that type of player.
Same.
Steve.
In the same article, or an article right under it, there's also another rumor going to Wolverhampton Wanderers, was a second division team. So take that with what you will. I think that's a little bit more believable than Liverpool, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, apparently Jorge Mendes is brokering these deals. So, when Jorge Mendes is on the scene, that stuff goes down.
Yeah, stuff goes down, and I think that's from special requests from certain Luis Felipe Vieira, I hope so.
Yeah, that's a favor that Mendes owes Luis Felipe Vieira, I think.
I hope so.
On another rumor, Nagy, which is a kid, the Hungarian kid that we had mentioned here last week, apparently was all destined to go to Italy's Bologna, and apparently they couldn't agree on some financials. So that deal is off, from what I understand, and he might again be seduced by the Benfica project at this time. As soon as I saw the deal was off, I knew that he probably wants a lot of money. I don't know how Benfica is going to approach the situation. Chris, it's a player that obviously we know that there's the talent is there, is the natural substitute of Renato, if you will.
It could also be a little bit of give and take. He's going to a club that's not in the Champions League, so he's asking for high wages. He comes to a club in the Champions League he's gonna get exposure.
Absolutely.
He might demand less. So we don't know what's going on because we're not privy to be in those four walls. But I think this is a kid that if he does come to Benfica, I think without a doubt he is Renato's replacement. And then leads to the question of Sedley's and all these guys. What do you do with these guys? But I do think that if he does come in and kind of have this hunch that you might hear something the next 3 to 4 days about him.
Sources
finally coming to
Lisbon.
No, I'm not going out on the limb like that. Like last time.
Your agent cousin?
Don't know nothing. Just have a hunch that you might hear something about him, and if he does join Benfica, I'll be terribly
I think
excited.
it's a very good buy if Benfica is able to get
quality player.
Obviously we're not going to go nuts with our wallets and spending tons of money on this kid, but he is a quality player.
Cheap. What is it, like 2.3? What is very cheap?
I'm not sure.
It's nothing crazy.
I'm not sure what the amount is. Also, out of the Seixal, Benfica did play Cova de Piedade, local Lisbon team, this past weekend, I think, behind closed doors, and Benfica won 4-0, 3-1 at the half. Goals by Jovic, Salviu, Mitroglou, and Grimaldo.
They won 4-0, but 3-1 at the half. You're confused.
I'm sorry, 3-0 at the half.
I was gonna. Okay,
there you go.
It was 3 + 1, 4.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I'm not the best at math. Math is not my strong suit.
I just count up to 35. That's it.
Yeah. Well, now you're gonna need to count up to 36.
I've learned how to get to 35.
Yeah, so those also another news, and from what I've read in the papers, both Carrillo and Servi are impressing, as well as youngster Andre Horta. So I'm curious to see how these guys do when they finally step on the field, which, as I've said, happens this Thursday. Steve, one of the things you're most excited about watching on this preseason game, if we happen to catch the game on a cap or something like that, or on download?
I don't know if that's going to be possible, but we'll do our best. I love to see the new guys. Just to see the hype and the promise, and to see what might be of the season, how you might be able to fit this guy in, how you might be able to play in a certain different way because you now have this player. That's, for me, the best part about preseason is that. But then there's the halftime substitutions, and the moment you kind of see something kind of gelling and everything goes to hell, and it starts to bug you. But I really want to see Servi. I'm very curious to see what kind of shape Carrillo is in. Andre Horta, I still have my doubts. Everyone's calling him, as of right now, based on the players that we have, Renato's most likely successor. I don't know if that's the type of player we have on our hands, but I'd like to see. I really like to see him playing at number 8 in the system that we played last year and see what happens. But for me, it's all those expectations, and you have those new players that are like new tools in your toolbox that you can't wait till the first time you use them.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember when we were up in Toronto last preseason, almost a year ago, or if not a year ago.
No, I don't have no video of that. It didn't happen.
Yeah, same.
Remember, I don't know, Steve, you and I were sitting side by side where Cristiano was, I don't know, doing whatever you were doing.
Cristiano was out gallivanting.
Cristiano was out on the grass. We were up on the press box.
Guys, let's call it what I was rubbing elbows with my sources.
Rubbing something. I don't know if
I was rubbing elbows with my sources. I mean, let's get to it.
That's right. Cristiano was on the field, and Steve and I were up on the press box, and I remember Steve and I making some observations on what we were seeing, especially in those first 30 minutes or so that the team was playing. Some of the differences between JJ's system and Rui Vitória's system at the moment, which weren't that many. It was only a few that we were able to point out.
It looked all right in the first half. It was a lot of
and
movement.
we said, well, this is just like JJ's team.
They were playing the ball out of the back. We're all impressed. I come back in the press box. You guys are doing a 30-minute segment and a little analytical. Chris, what do you think? I'm like, I wasn't even paying attention. But yeah, I like the way they move the ball. And then I heard you guys, and it was all nothing but praise. And then as the season went along,
the preseason got really went really sour. After that first game up in Toronto against PSG.
PSCNG.
So I mean, in the end, it all worked out. But yeah, I am very curious to see the new guys, see what kind of system Rui Vitória sets up because of how many wingers he has in the squad right now. I'll be curious to see. I'm curious to see what kind of shape Carrillo is in. Apparently, word from the Seychelles is that he's in very good shape and he's been impressing. Servi, like we said, Servi is coming from mid-season or end of the season in Argentina, so is as far as his stamina and his physical ability, he's way ahead of all his teammates at the Seychelles. So I'll be curious, but there's guys that you see and the first time you see him, as soon as they touch the ball, you know right away. Like I remember the first time I saw Di Maria, I knew he was a real deal. First time I saw Di Maria, I knew he was a real deal.
Forget Di Maria because that's an obvious one. I'll mention the guy that we saw. The three of
Smith.
us. Who's telling the story? You or me? No, I'm just one guy that with the three of us saw for the very first time. Yeah. We haven't, Benfica's lacking a right back. Obviously, Moxie just left, to our rivals. We're sitting there. We know on there Almeida Silvio. All of a sudden, this kid makes his first appearance against the Red Bulls, and my man was up and down that wing, and we're like, what the hell? Yeah. And we're like, yo, this kid's got. And so that's another guy that came out of nowhere. The Di Maria's, you heard a lot of hype about this kid. So when you saw it, okay, I see it.
You also
came out of nowhere.
You also made your first and your last impression of Carcela in that game.
Carcela, Tarap.
No, Carcela.
Carcela is like your first impression that you had of Carcela.
No, that was in Toronto.
No, but in the games that we watched.
But in Toronto, as soon as I seen him warming up, I said, this kid's good. And then I seen him play, and I was like, remember? I said this since day one. I'm like,
since day one, you had the first impression and you had the second impression,
like 10 minutes later,
and both held true for the remainder of the season for you.
My first impression, he had a beautiful touch, and the guy does. Man, listen, I'd show up to play, I show up at tryouts, and I see guys, and I see him do all these trucs, and I'm like, damn, I'm intimidated. But you know me, I'm a cocky SOB, so I walk in like, yeah. And then the game will start. They will trip, and I'll be like, Megan, it's like, come on. Like, in Carcela is the type of guy. You show up prior to the game through beautiful touch. Nice. But then he gets into the game. It's like, my man is like, he's chilling. Like, everybody's
you think he lacks intensity?
He's got no intensity whatsoever. He's just like, does he have beautiful touch? I'll never take that away from him. He's got a beautiful left foot. If I had that left foot, I'd be a pro, but I don't. Dude, chill. But he's like this the whole game. Like,
I think that's why he's done well in Belgium and done well in where else?
I don't think he did that well in Russia.
He didn't. That's why he came right back.
No, I think he did well in Belgium.
Zane Ball.
Belgium.
No, he was on another leg.
He was in Belgium. Then he went to Russia, and he came back real quick.
Yes, thank you, Steve. He was at Zane. No, Anchi Mother Black, whatever. Roberto Carlos was at. They'd fly 3 hours.
Anzi.
Yeah, whatever. That's where he disappointed. Then he comes back, he does okay, and he signs with Benfica on a free.
Yeah. You guys ready to get into some Twitter questions? I'm
ready.
I'm scrolling.
I'm gonna get to Pedro Arresta, Trituga, Olhasada. What's the deal with Cristante? My man, that's old news. All right, Cristante's on his been at Pescara for the last 2 weeks.
If you had been listening to our podcast, you would know what deal is.
He hasn't though. He was prepping.
Pedro, isso não parece teu, pá.
He was prepping for 3 Tugas.
Oh, that's what it is.
That's what it was.
He's got to compete with Casoilo, man. That's a big deal.
Yeah, whatever. Tarap. Cristante is at Pescara, season-long loan. With the option to buy, Pedro. So scratch that one off.
Meg, your question: with Bebe being sold, do you think the club will continue to sell that weight? Absolutely, rather than loan.
I don't know about absolutely. I think in a perfect world,
when possible, we want to sell them.
Yes.
Loan with the club that they're going to, contributing some of their wages. That's ideal too. That's the second choice.
That's not happening, Benfica. Real Madrid and Milan, booty as Milan, but the big clubs, Barca's, those guys, when they loan, people pick up their salaries, not Benfica. Not because they can't. Most of these guys that are making a couple $100 a week at Benfica, when they go to a Nacional, they'll be the highest paid players on the team. They can't even be. Yeah. They can't afford them. So unfortunately, not many guys.
If they go to other countries, then the other countries might be like in Spain. I doubt that Benfica is supporting all of salaries of Bebe when he was at whatever the hell he was.
Jorge Mendes e tudo, meu. Aquilo, estás tu a pagar, se calhar, com as cotas, meu. Estás a pagar o salário do Bebe.
Here's just a statement from Mario at M.SLB. To think if we didn't have Rui, we wouldn't have Sanch. No goal against Poland, no Euro. Time for another title / new record. Yeah, Mario, things did fall in place, buddy.
Absolutely.
Come to think of it, things did fall in place. Felipe Pereira at RSPKP13. Talishka, take the money or keep. Also, any word of a North American tour? No word.
No.
North American tour is not happening.
It's not happening.
No, it's not happening. I think that Talishka, you take the money. Even if we could get the $4 million that we paid for him, I take that in a heartbeat.
Stop. He's worth more than 4. I don't know if I'd pay 25 though.
Rich D at RFD_76. What's with the Rattler on the top back of the jersey where Sagres was? From what I understand, Rattler is a product by Sagres.
Sagres Rattler.
Which is Chris, you mind elaborating on Rattler? What Rattler
it goes like this. Quem paga, põe o nome na camisola. That's it. Short and sweet.
It's just a new product that
What's this guy's name?
Rich.
If you want your name in the back, paga, kills point. That's it.
You could get that at the store, yeah.
No, even that. If you pay the amount, you want to be a sponsor? They'll gladly put your name on the back of all the jerseys. They'll take a couple mil, but they'll do it.
Yeah, Rattler is a new product by Sagres, which is it's a
everybody makes Rattlers. It's like a type of beer. I think it's mixed with fruit or some crap.
Yeah,
you guys drink that crap.
It's delicious, man.
It's uma cerveja mixed with small.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what it is, except with a little lemon taste.
What do you call that? The cerveja mixed with small.
Champagnon.
Panache. Yeah.
What's the champagnon? That's the one with the wine.
Panache is the fancy word.
E no Sicpack chama nada, mas eu bebo tudo.
A lot of media. Here's Cynthia at Simba242. A lot of media are haters of Portugal. Seems to me many are haters of CR7. We have always been at the party. Now we have the trophy. Agreed.
We weren't at the party.
And
we were at the door. They didn't ever let us in. We weren't cool enough to get in.
Was the bouncer keeping us from going in?
It's like we showed up and like dudes show up with girls and they go in. We try to get a girl get in, but like, dude, you got to get in with a girl. And we can never get in because we didn't have a girl.
Jafurst likes your shirt.
I know. You like that, Jafurst? Yo, by the way, Jafurst, I don't know another Canadian that makes more TV appearances than Jafurst.
He's made more appearances than that dude.
Drake.
Drake. On Sunday, I was trying to get his attention. I was like, Serge. He was too busy waiting for the camera to film him on CTV. I was like,
I'll give this dude though. He's very respectful. He always speaks to his mom. Mine, I'm not in jail today. He always lets his mom know.
Sergio has made more appearances on TV than the Emplastro do Porto.
Nah, he's Toronto's Portuguese Drake.
He's Toronto's Emplastro.
I don't know who that is, bro.
The guy
lost us, dude.
Oh, aquele maluco.
The guy that goes behind the reporter.
Aquele maluco, o doentinho.
That guy.
Doentinho.
That says, Pinto Costa, meu pai.
O gajo, se calhar, está a
Pinto Costa, meu pai.
Estamos a falar mal do homem, pode.
Here's one from Diogo Reis. Thank you for welcoming us for this. Thank you for welcoming.
Thank you for welcoming us. How about that?
As much as I hate mentioning this, is it Sporting or Fernando Santos or either responsible for Portugal's triumph for this?
If you had to single one, it's got to be Fernando Santos.
But
I wouldn't single anybody out, especially not the way the final turned out and how they won without Ronaldo and all that.
Sporting são tão cracks. They left at 18, never won that, and then they got developed at Manchester United or where else. What about they don't get credit?
Yeah,
I'm just being a hater.
Sergio makes a great point. João Carvalho and Zé Gomes, or Zé Goals as he's known, two Benfica products we can see in Qatar 2022. I have my doubts that that World Cup is happening in Qatar, bro. I know there's money, but there's a bunch of factors happening.
Bro, those guys got enough money to move the calendar around, bro. Don't worry about it. Somehow it'll be in the summer.
Wait, you think?
Because right now they're gonna play it in the winter.
You think they'll buy good weather?
They'll figure it out. They want to put like
air-conditioned stadiums.
They want to put like wireless air conditioners, just like drones. Like, these guys are crazy.
Sergio Jaforst is taking over the timeline. What does Tencio 10 think about Andre Horta's chances of taking over Renato, or is Nagy the chosen one?
Look, if I had the choice, obviously I'll go with Nagy based on what I've seen so far. But I'm to be fair. Let me see what Horta could do so far. Hopefully, I can see these next two games here in the Taça. Como é que chama?
Supertaça?
No, man. Agora.
Cândido Oliveira.
No. This guy's stop.
Taça do Algarve.
Taça do Algarve. Let me see what this kid could do, and then I'd be able to give you a more educated opinion. Right now, I'd be a dirtbag to give you an opinion on, because I really haven't seen much of him, guys, to be honest with you. So I'd go with Nagy right now. And probably after what I see from what I still go with Nagy. But we'll see what happens.
Steve, here's one for you from Diogo. How do you guys feel about the signings thus far? Do you think they are taking spots away from the talent at Seixal?
I don't think that you could ever win a trophy. Well, we could, but I think the right model is to buy quote unquote cracks, which I think Zivkovic, Carillo to an extent, and Serbia. I think those three guys fit that model. You must mention him, but no. I like the guys we bought so far. I'm thinking there's a lot of wingers on the lineup. I don't. The guys that I think are kind of ready to make the step up this year from the Seixal are like I mentioned a few days ago, Gonçalves and João Carvalho. I don't know if either of them, even as wingers, only if we didn't bring in, I don't know, Zivkovic, maybe one guy would get a shot. But even then, it's tight, man. Especially for a guy like João Carvalho, who's probably more of a 10 than he is a winger. We don't play with the 10 unless you call him Jonas. I don't think we're really blocking anybody at the moment. I think if some guy comes up from Seixal and blows us away to play 8, that's the spot that there's an opening. But for the wing, I don't think none of the guys are there yet. At least not compared to the guys that we bought.
Opa, let me jump in here, bro. Everyone listening right now, drop whatever the hell it is you're doing and listen and pay attention. Okay? Calm down. Not every year you're going to have a Renato Sanchez and a Semedo come from a B team. And that's okay. It might be every 2-3 years. The fact that you're getting these guys, you should feel yourself lucky. Okay? It's not going to happen every year. So if no kid gets promoted this year, it doesn't mean that Seixal is a failure. Doesn't mean that Benfica's come off their model. It just means that these kids aren't ready. So everybody, calm down. Just be happy. What happened last year is not normal. That's abnormal. Yeah. You don't get kids like Renato every year. Not forget Benfica all over the world. So that's abnormal. So if it doesn't happen this year, if none of these kids get promoted, let's not get discouraged. Let's not start critiquing. And yes, they had to go out because these kids aren't ready. Now, if these kids are ready and Benfica, that's a different story. But I firmly believe that Benfica knows what the hell they're doing at this moment with the youngsters, and these kids just aren't ready. So don't get up in arms. Just take a deep breath and say, all right, we'll get them back next year.
Yeah, just to go further on what Chris is saying and what Steve is saying, there's been a kind of a little bit of a tweak within Benfica structure and within, I think there was an interview that Nuno Gomes gave, and I forget where it was.
Pro Scout.
Where he said great things and the direction in which the team is going, and where they're identifying this talent and these kids very early on, and they're preparing them, but they're not rushing them. I mean, of course, a talent like Renato Sanchez, which comes once, every 10 years, and I hate to use that word, or being born 10 times over, whatever, but it is a rare talent. But I think that, and to Steve's point, is that there's a mix. There's got to be a mix. There's got to be a mix of young talent that we could pluck from other countries, such as Zivkovic and Jovic, like we mentioned. There's got to be a mix, and it can't be all young kids. Got to have some veterans in there, some guys we could grab from guys that've lost space in certain teams. Look at Jonas that we've got. Look at other guys that we've gotten throughout history that have been very helpful. To our team. You got to have a mix, but that's Benfica's model. And Diogo, I don't think that Luis Felipe Vieira has lost faith in the Seixal. It's just, you can't rush these kids, man. You got to have them ready, because if they're going to come into the team and going to make an impact, they have to be ready. You can't just throw an 18-year-old kid that knows nothing about what it is to step on Stade de Luz on a Sunday where you got a packed house. That kid's legs are going to shake. He's going to shit his pants. You got to be ready to do these things.
You can make the case like I did last year with Guedes. He stepped up and he played a couple games where he looked like he belonged, but for the most part throughout the season, you could tell that he might not be at that level yet. And I came on this podcast week in and week out and said maybe this guy should go on alone. It's not saying that the kid doesn't have a future. It's not, but they're just not ready at this moment. And in my opinion, to have a kid like Guedes or Carvalho or any of these other kids on the B team that are coming up just to sit on the bench where they're not getting the regular playing time that they would at other places, all you're doing is stunting their growth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Benfica doesn't want to do that. If they're not going to play, let them be where they're at. And because they're still youngsters. It's not like they're 22 and playing on a B team. They're still playing, juniors and whatever else. And so I think you have to look at it that way, guys. Don't be discouraged, man. You're not going to get a Renato every year.
Yeah. Even Rui Costa spent a year at FAF.
FAF, yeah, he got loaned out at FAF. But then
last year was...
that time, but Steve, one sec. At that time, Benfica was stacked.
Benfica was stacked. You're right.
At that time,
team
Benfica
was stacked. Bro.
Because if it was today's team, Benfica, there's no way Rui Costa goes on loan. No. But at that time, Benfica was stacked.
Steve.
Last year was you can't count on 3 guys coming from the B team and making an impact every year, like Chris said before. You guys forgot Lindelof as well.
Yeah, we have 4.
Who's the 4th?
Lindelof, Guedes.
Oh, Guedes made it. Okay, yeah. I wasn't counting.
He did all right. Like I said, he did the big goal in Atletico Madrid. He did all right. I mean, but
there's going to be some guys that will get minutes. I'm sure of it. Somebody's going to get hurt in an area where a little bit light, maybe up front, God knows where. But I'm sure somebody's going to be introduced. Whether or not he'll stick is the question. Yeah.
Here's another one from Serge Jafurst. Marçal made the Turkish League All-Star team last year. What are his chances of making the team, or do we sell him?
Did he get a star on his shirt?
Do you get a star for being an all-star? Maybe he just gets funky.
Very funny, Chris.
No, I think that with the renewal of Eliseu, I think that Marçal's the writing's on the wall for Marçal.
Yeah,
I think that
if he did well in Turkey, he'll have market there, and they pay well. I would see that happening.
João Gomes, big shout out to João Gomes. Então, Mel, tudo bem? He says, hey, European champions, how are you? We're doing great. Should SLB let some players go to the Olympics? If no, why? If yes, which ones? I think that for this guy,
I'd like to let Guedes go if they.
I think that it all depends where these guys stand on the depth chart. I think that if Guedes is 3-4 down on the depth chart, you let him go. Yeah. You let him go because he's only going to enhance his value at the Olympics, which is good for the team.
That's a good.
Lindelof, Lindelof is Sweden in the Olympics?
I don't know, sir.
Jimenez, I don't know, man. Being that we don't have that many forwards, I wouldn't let Jimenez go.
We only have 4 or 5.
5 forwards? No, we don't. We got
we definitely got 4. Yeah. We definitely got 4.
You got Rui Font.
Jovic. 5. We got 5.
Saponjic, Jovic.
Jonas, Mitroglou, and
Jimenez.
Yeah, let the Mexican go. He just wants to go see the Brasileiros. Here's one from Kevin Nivek SLB. Any news with games being broadcast on Sport TV on the upcoming season, Kevin? No news, man. No news. As soon as we know something, we will mention. I think that right now there's some deals going on with all the operators in Portugal to see who's going to be carrying what. Last I understand,
all three of the major have come to an agreement that they could all get access to the football package rather than just being on one particular. So they've all agreed. I read that this week. They've all agreed that every all the subscribers to the three Mio, NOS, and whatever else, the three big cable companies in Portugal, they all agreed to share the package. Right, that doesn't have to be just for any one particular subscriber. But as far as for us here in North America and around the world, I mean, that's news that we'll probably hear sometime in August. I mean, let's be honest, right before the season starts. I mean, there's no way of us knowing. I mean, you have to contact Fubu and GSN, who's off you have to contact those guys. I mean, we're not privy to that.
Sport TV is off of Fubu, right?
Yes, exactly.
Sport TV is no longer Fubu.
Still Benfica TV, but
I think they're still hashing out stuff. I'm sure if NOS spent that much money on Benfica games and is giving money to Porto, is giving money to Sporting, and I think we've said this here, it's within their best interest to have it offered to as many people as possible. Don't worry, man. Those will be around. However, they're going to be around. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's going. Look,
I heard about that. I don't know nothing about it.
It's for a friend.
I heard it from a friend.
It's whatever it is, it's definitely going to be some kind of a some kind of a streaming package, a service offer, if you will. And I think that those things will come together sooner or later. I think that by the time the Super Cup rolls around, that shit will be in place.
Opa, here's Sergio Cavasso, Partida Loisa Toda. On today's cover record, Sporting quer Markovic, obviously Markovic, former Benfica player, flop at Liverpool. And Sergio's question is, what are the odds? Here's my answer.
I'd be very sad.
I think Klopp will actually get a serious look at this guy this year. I think this is all premature. I mean, I'm not saying that it can't happen, but I think there's a really good chance that he actually sticks around at Liverpool this season, believe it or not.
I also think that he likes Benfica too much, man.
I hope so.
I think that kid has a real love for Benfica.
I bet you he loves the Benjamins more or whatever they use.
Gosta nada, man. Então apanhou a primeira bebedeira no bus a celebrar o 34, pá.
I'd like for that not to happen. I personally think he's probably good enough to stick at Liverpool. It's just very hard to win those fans over, and that trickles down into the staff. But Klopp's a smart manager, and he fits Klopp's model of the pressing and the super fast counterattack. So
yeah, I think so.
I think he sticks, and I really hope he sticks. Yeah.
I think he sticks as well. And I've never had that connection that you guys had from Markovic. I think he's a nice player, but I don't know. Like, okay, he came and won the title. I mean, he's not the first to leave after one season. I just never had that real connection with him. I liked him, but if he goes, it is what it is. He won't be the first player to play at both clubs. It is what it is. Money talks.
Yeah.
I think Sporting right now, I don't know where they got it from, but they dug a hole in the backyard and they found oil. We saw with Lucas Silva, another Real Madrid player that was on his way to being loaned out to Sporting, fell this physical. Sporting said they found the hole in his heart.
How many
yesterday he came out and he said,
there's nothing wrong.
I'm still going to continue to play. So I don't know what that's about. I felt sorry for the kid like 12 hours prior. And then I heard that he said, I'm still going to continue to play.
Is that the third guy that fails physicals over there? Boateng was one of them.
Boateng was his knee. KBP.
Yeah.
Kevin Prince.
So I got to be honest. When I saw that kid being loaned out to Sporting,
you know what didn't fail a physical and we're thankful?
Who?
Ruiz.
Zing!
I think that for some reason they failed to look at his feet.
That's a guy that JJ was in love with at Benfica. Every offseason we heard Benfica was going to get him. And then I guess he gets to Sport. They finally got him. I mean, the guy got a good season for them. So
yeah. He's a good player.
Who else? What else we got? I think Pedro Ores is making a comment that we're after being European champions, we're drinking Heine. Hey, I'm just a guest here. I drink whatever the boss has, man.
Actually, that's
Olha, Steve.
Cronenberg. It's French. Até os bebemos.
Yo,
Steve has had that joke prepared all freaking podcast.
It's been in here. It's been in here.
Yo, by the way, Pedro, listen, we've said it here numerous times on the podcast that if you want to send us per stage, not the beer, shirts, dresses, skirts, whatever it is,
You could wear a skirt. I won't.
send them all here. We'll try them all out. So if you want us to drink sagres, Pedro, you've been to my crib. You've been to my house.
What did he bring last time he was
Corona.
here? Corona. Pá. Nem foi sagres, pá.
Órale, wait.
Devias ter vergonha na cara,
And he
pá.
didn't bring the lemon, Will. And he didn't bring the lemon. E agora tá a falar da gente.
Anyway, I think that's all you got. Do you guys got anything else that you wanted to add before we take off? I don't know how long it's been, but we've been rambling for quite some time.
I just want to put it out there. I'll be in Portugal for match day 1 of the Champions League at the Luge. So come check me out, okay? I'll have a booth outside. Come check me out.
A booth?
I think Chris just let that one fly right over his head.
You're going to be signing autographs?
Yeah.
You want me to rain on your parade? Guys, forget him. Check me out because I'll be there prior.
You got
Is
a
that better,
booth?
Steve? Is that better? I mean, what do you want me to say, Steve?
I was saying the exact same thing you said last week.
I didn't say I'd have a booth.
He said he had a booth?
No, he said, come check me out.
Yeah, but I never said nothing about a booth because that'll get expensive.
Yo.
I went up to you, Chris.
Compre uma cerveja ao homem, pá.
No.
I'll have to drive back.
Só quando a gente for, pá.
Yo, by the way, we're going this
we're thinking about it.
Oh, now we went from sure thing to
Steve's not going.
I doubt I'm going.
Where are we going? End of winter, early spring of 2017. We're planning on a group of us going to Portugal. So if you guys are hip to it, let us know. And if you could get to Portugal, we'll definitely meet and go watch a game all together, hang out, grab some beers.
We were gonna rent one of these Carnival cruises, but we didn't think we get that many people, so we figured we'd just go to Portugal.
Carnival cruises.
Imagine. Also benfiquistas.
Yeah. Everybody, thank you for checking us out. Thank you very much for listening. I know that this episode wasn't as exciting as the first one, but we promise that we'll continue to bring it every week.
Well, the good news is this is the first podcast we've ever done as European champs. So, it's something to look forward to. You know what I mean? This is always positive.
First one and not last for sure. Anyway, next week we'll be back. We'll have a full recap of what Benfica did at the Algarve Cup. We'll have our first impressions on our new signings and what the team is doing. So definitely come and check us out. We'll be looking at some tactical things, some different things that we're going to be looking at from the team at the Algarve Cup. I know it's early, and I know that a lot of guys will probably not be in their best form yet as far as playing. But we're gonna be looking. We're gonna be looking. We'll bring you all the news, all the rumors, all the speculation on next week's podcast. We'll be back here on Tuesday. As always, anywhere from 8 to 9 to 9:30. That's when we come on. So thank you very much for checking us out. Don't forget to listen to us on iTunes, rate us on iTunes. I know that the views on YouTube have been pretty solid too. Split with the hits on the audio feed on the podcast. So we're very thankful that you guys have taken the time and checking us out. Also, Ball Breakers is where you can find Cristiano doing his other amazing juggling act. And Steve is just here, and he's a father.
Steve's just drinking French beer.
That's right. Até hoje bebemos.
And he's eating baguettes.
Até hoje bebemos.
Croissants.
Everybody.
Pedro, manda cerveja pra aqui, pá.
Have a good work week. Be proud to be Portuguese, as you should, always. Not only in these times. Though.
Don't get dumb tattoos.
I heard Sergio Jafos is going to get a tattoo on his chest that says, "Look, Mom, I'm here." See you, buddy. Everybody have a good week. All right. Talk to you again next week.
Ciao. Bye.